Ya Ali Madad, I'm Shehzeen Sunderji, the Academic Director of ITREB Tanzania, and I hope that all of you are keeping safe during this pandemic. I understand that we have a lot going through our minds, but there is also a sense of hope that we will, inshallah, overcome this. And as the Imam mentioned in his message to the Global Jamaat on 29th March, that we should turn our focus to rebuilding and perhaps in some cases repositioning when this crisis passes, and focus our efforts to build a stronger future for the Global Jamaat. Thus, today we will spend some time reflecting on the Imam's guidance through one of the best practices in the field of continuous education, which is by having a growth mindset. For over 30 years, Dr. Carol Dweck from Stanford University has studied the impact of mindsets, and she showed how a person's mindset sets the stage for either performance goals or learning goals. Through her research, we understand that there are two mindsets that many of us may categorize into: a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. But we could also have traits of both fixed and growth mindsets. What do these two mindsets mean? When we look at a fixed mindset, we tend to limit our knowledge and skills by neither changing them nor having the urge to try new challenges. Thus, in circumstances like today, we tend to ignore the struggle and let it take control of our lives. While a growth mindset enables individuals to believe that knowledge and skills are acquired through hard work, and with the right environment and encouragement, we are able to achieve our learning goals through any circumstances. Thus, in a growth mindset, individuals continue to positively learn and embrace challenges no matter what is the state of the society. During his Diamond Jubilee, Maulana Hazir Imam mentioned the following farman in Karachi on 19th December 2017, and I quote, "I say to my spiritual children today, particularly the younger generations, learn and learn and learn and learn and learn and learn, learn and learn and learn and learn and learn. Because today, more than ever before, lifelong learning is what you need to accompany you as you move through your life. Education, knowledge, competence are the key issues for the future of the Jamaat around the world." Unquote. It is critical to note the number of times the Imam has used the word learn, which makes us understand the importance of education and building capacity, not only for oneself, but also for the Jamaat and the societies in which we live. There are numerous examples based on research that have shown how students have progressed well in school due to a growth mindset culture. But I have one example to share with you on how a differently abled friend in Germany is supported by her growth mindset colleague. Who could have thought that the small pieces of Lego could actually contribute towards such a big initiative in our society? Having a growth mindset helps us think creatively and enables us to be lifelong learners. We tend to have a mindset that constantly encourages learning, embraces challenges, and creates solutions. Isn't this similar to what the Imam said earlier? How do we see the pandemic as a springboard to prepare ourselves for building a stronger future? An important ayat from the Quran comes to my mind, and I quote, "Indeed, Allah will not change the condition of a people until they change what is in themselves." Unquote. When we change what is in ourselves, we are able to look at the world through multiple perspectives and with an open mind. But having a growth mindset is not only for our material lives, it can also be applied to our spiritual lives. In Islam, it is clear that our spiritual lives and material lives are intertwined. Thus, having a growth mindset helps us enhance both of these. Let us look at an example of a growth mindset for the spiritual aspect and paradigm of our life. Nurturing our soul through regular prayers and personal search is highly recommended. However, the question to reflect upon is that, is this in itself sufficient? Many times the Imam has asked us to live ethical lives and reminds us that our worldly and spiritual lives are intertwined. We are also reminded that the belief in the hereafter and the way an individual leads his or her present life are closely connected. Thus, how we live with our families and engage in the societies around us significantly impacts our soul. However, with the growth mindset, we are able to reflect on our actions, conduct ourselves, and radiate positivity while upholding a respectable self-image to holistically nurture our soul. To highlight other examples, I'd like for us to learn from the stories and personal experiences. In our Jamaat, we have many people who live through a growth mindset and who have been able to contribute towards the wider good. Mr. Qasim has a story to share with us on how he has been able to live through a growth mindset in both his physical and spiritual life. Let us learn from his experience.
Ya Ali Madad, briefly speaking, my life has seen a variety of circumstances that I have experienced. After completing the secondary education, I started as a clerk in the East African Income Tax Department, accounting machine programmer with Burroughs machines, an electrical contractor with my brothers, a farmer on a remote place, a shopkeeper at Bagamoyo, and lastly, a maintenance officer with the Aga Khan institutions. I have no academic qualification for any of the above trades. I learned them all through practical training on the job. Since my school days, with a specific group of school friends, we were interested in learning about religion, psychology, magic, and witchcraft, trying to understand the mental and spiritual makeup of humans. The good thing was that it strengthened our faith in God, and I had also started early morning meditations. I had a good collection of books on various religions, mythologies, space travels, and ancient aliens. I had also learned from our talim classes and short courses on logic, law, and civics, which were being conducted by the Institute of Adult Education on Lumumba Street. I got married in 1970 in Morogoro. My wife was very hardworking with a strong willpower and a firm believer in God's mercy and justice. She practiced early morning meditation, and I thank God that both of us were on the same wavelength. When banks, houses, and wholesale businesses were nationalized, we realized that our survival on contract business will be very difficult. So my wife attended dressmaking and cooking classes. Her hard work and perseverance were of great help during that trying period. Many people migrated to Canada. We had also applied for Canadian immigration, but for some reason our application was turned down. By 1975, I had to give up my flat and wind up my business as the construction industry had come to a stop. We moved to one of our friends' farm, which is 24 miles from Dar es Salaam, near Mbweni Beach. We were given a two-room house at the end of the farm, and the nearest neighbor was 400 meters away. Hundreds of beds were resident in the space above the ceiling. The windows had iron bars but no shutters or netting. We rolled up our sleeves, hired some help, and rehabilitated the house. My friend provided us with some basic furniture. I had no experience in farming, so I bought some books on vegetable farming, and from SIDO, I learned about underground piped irrigation system. My wife stood beside me hand in hand, and together we faced all the problems in our lives. We decided clearing the bushes and planted vegetables of all sorts. We had designated one area in the corner of the room where three of us would recite our prayers and meditate. Soon we fell in the routine of a farmer. We spent 2 years on this farm. There was no nightlife unless we went to Bahari Beach Hotel. So we had ample time to recite our prayers and sit and discuss about religion and politics. We remember our short life on the farm as the happiest period in our lives. Maybe it was because there was peace in our hearts. Walking in the right path is not easy, and nobody knows this better than God Himself. And that is why He has put mercy and forgiveness in the forefront for those who repent and strive forward on the right path. So, in your everyday endeavors, remember God continuously. He is with us in each cell of our body. He has created us and the universe, and there can be no better guide and help than Him. So do not despair if things do not work out the way you want them. Trust in God. If one venue closes, effort should be made to try another, for when God closes the door, He always opens a window somewhere. Find that window and make that window your gateway to new opportunities. Thank you, and Ya Ali Madad.
Thank you for sharing your wisdom, Mr. Qasim. It is fascinating to see how you have adapted a growth mindset throughout your life, which has enabled you to learn and grow through the challenges you faced, but also helped in your spiritual search and deepening your understanding of our faith. It is wonderful when we spend quality time to learn from the experiences of the elderly in our Jamaat. When we think about a growth mindset, it does not mean that we will never fail, but the sense of hope will keep us going through. Maulana Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah summarizes it well in his Farman, and I quote, "You must remember that life will have for you many disappointments. If 1/5 of one's hopes are realized, one is extremely lucky and fortunate. So do not be discouraged by disappointments. Failures should be forgotten and new efforts made. Despondency is a sin, and hope a necessary part of Iman, both of material wealth and above all for progress to spiritual enlightenment." Unquote. As we come to an end, I'd like to encourage all of us to continue reflecting on the guidance that our Imam provides us with and to look at creative solutions for building a strong future for the Jamaat. The current situation may or may not stay for long, but our intellect and having a growth mindset will help us be better prepared for the future. You can't change the past, you can only live in the present, but the future is yours to determine. I'd like to leave with the following quote by Maulana Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah, which is known by most of us. "Struggle is the meaning of life. Defeat or victory is in the hands of God. But struggle itself is man's duty and should be his joy." Thank you, and Ya Ali Madad.